up, guys? Welcome back, everybody. Whiteboy Radio. Man, look, I just got done watching the Seth live, and I'm probably going to tag him in this video. And this is going to be my last conversation with Mr. Seth, um, directly, just because of all the stuff that he said. I just got done watching the video. This is my literally instant reaction. I got done watching it. I know it was a day ago. People have been talking about it, but this is just my take from it. And I come on a little bit of a different take. First and foremost, I still feel sorry for the Proudfoots and Seth for obviously Sebastian not being found. We haven't heard anything from either side in a while, but let's be real. What is there to say? Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes not coming on social media, not hitting all the channels, not doing all that is just where you should be. Sometimes fighting this thing from behind the scenes is what it is. We've seen in the Summer Wells case with how beneficial was it to watch Don and Candace go through, their downward spiral on social media on all these panels and then them just stop. They've gotten more happy being off this thing because at the end of the day, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to report. So there's nothing bad to say about us not hearing about Chris and Katie. Now, I can tell you, I spoke to Chris myself the other night about a few different things. I'm in contact with him. But, this video is not about Summer Wells or Chris or Katie Proudfoot. It's about Seth. And unfortunately, because it's about Seth, I have to talk about Chris and Katie Proudfoot because, well, he's still making streams on his channel and he's still blaming Chris and Katie for all types of weird things. He's talking about the Epstein list. He's talking about all types. He's talking about calling Florida for some trafficking thing that they had here, right? And he's calling the police over here in Florida. Dude, you're not cleared. You're not cleared. The police don't owe you anything. You're not cleared. Either is Chris and Katie. But if you're not cleared, you can't go demanding in other states them give you information about stuff. And your whole thing, it was Chris and Katie. Why would you be calling Florida? What connections would they have? It's a whole bunch of nonsense. This guy still with the Chris and Katie. He even went as far to say you're not the woman that I knew and you're not the woman that I divorced. What a dumb statement. I don't know what my ex is doing. When I was with my ex, I knew her, right? I don't know what kind of woman she is now. She's not. I'm not with her, right? So I can't. That's a very controlling statement to say, right? But that's what Seth is, man. And I hate to sit here and sound like I'm bashing Seth, but I'm not really happy with Seth for so many different reasons. And Seth has done something in this little community, not my community, but the community we all pay attention to. Whether you call it crama, whether you call it true crime, Seth has done something weird in the Sebastian Rogers case. He's brought something different, right? A different element. You've seen all types of different creators. There's the green team, there's this and that, but you've seen this divide and you've seen people literally pick a side. And it's changed so much, right? There's creators like myself who usually don't ever speak about a parent in a missing child case, anything negative about them, but you've seen other channels do the same because of the stuff that he's done, the people who he's aligned himself in. And here he is going live, still praising people like Not Bright Media and all these other trashy pimps. He's sitting here complaining about no progress, basically blaming the police, right? And what's crazy is, as I'm listening to him cry about all this stuff, is I see a whole bunch of controlling in the relationship aspect, right? And I see a whole bunch of everything is about me. As far the police cannot just drop what they're doing and hyper focus on Sebastian Rogers. Seth wants the police to not only hyper focus on Chris and Katie, but hyper focus all their attention only on Sebastian and disregard all the other missing children. This is something I never understood about Seth Rogers. You sit on lives time after time, right? And you sit here and you talk so crazy about the Summer Wells case, how your child won't end up like that, how you won't go down the road Don and Candace have. Now, here we are, and you have the same result as they do. Rather be someone to put themselves on some type of high horse. Why not partner with them people? Why not reach out to them people? And not only them people, all the other parents with missing kids. Why not help them people? Like in the Cash case. In the Cash Gurnan case, you see this family who have went through super triumph. That's all they're about, is helping other families. But you can't do that. There's no way that you can do that. And that whole thing of how you change this little element over here, that's what I'm talking about. Because you became a trashy pimp. You think that you're so hyper focused on Chris and Katie with zero evidence. And at the same time, you're mad at all your tragedy pimp friends. They don't care about you. Yeah, they're going to talk about Jack and the Jack and Dilly case, of course. Of course, that's the thing that's popping. You're yesterday's news. These people don't care about you. That's who you partnered with. That's who, and I tried to tell you months ago. I knew something was up with you months ago, because you should have in your heart some type of anguish, empathy, whatever word you want to use towards Don and Candace. They're going through the same thing, but you put yourself through a pedestal and you aligned yourself with all these creators who attack that family. That's not normal. It's not normal. It's not normal. This thing that you did here, man, is so wild to me. But it's the same old script with Seth, man. It's Chris and Katie's fault. There's no change in you. You're mad at everybody else. You're always mad at the world. You're always Nothing's changed with you, dude. Nothing's changed with you. You can't expect the police to only think about Sebastian. You said yourself all these trafficking rings. Why don't you get your head out of your ass and start thinking outside the box? Why don't you think? You know how much help you could have got if there wasn't a divide? What if there wasn't a green team versus the hate channels, whatever the hell you guys call it? Whatever side I'm on, whatever you call that. What if there was none of that? What if you just tried to spread love? What if you just tried for unity? What if you just tried something different? You think you get more result? I don't know how many people are on the green team. I have no clue. I don't know how many channels it is. Somebody leave it in the comments, versus the other side. But what if there was no divide? What if there was no left and right? What if you just came at it where you want all this help? Why would you even create a divide? Why did you create only and vet channels who specifically are hyper focused on Chris and Katie? What if you're wrong? And obviously, you've been wrong. The police haven't arrested them. They're not investigating them. There's nothing that's going to happen to Chris and Katie Proudfoot. Newsflash for your entire Green Team friends, there's nothing that's going to happen to Don and Candace, because you are right somewhere in your live that you did a day ago where you're talking about these trafficking rings that they've been busting in the media. And yes, this is true. In your own state, your own TBI. I even think it was the governor at one point. It was a few months back. They were talking about Tren de Egg or whatever the hell that gang is called. They're not known for selling dope. They're known for trafficking kids. That's what the FBI warned the state. These are what these trafficking rings lead back to. It's not Chris and Katie that are the head of these rings getting busted in Florida and Tennessee. It's organized crime. Newsflash: human trafficking is human trafficking is the number one crime in all of organized crime. They don't sell dope no more. This is where the bucks are made. But to be hyper focused on parents is so stupid. It's something I've been saying for years over here. I get people have conspiracies. I get people have feelings. I get people have questions, and all that's healthy. But to be hyper focused on it is unhealthy if you're not getting answers to those questions, those feelings, and those theories. There's just nothing there. You have to go to a different avenue. And for people to hyper focus on one thing and get zero result, that is the definition of insanity. That's the definition of insanity. I don't feel sorry for you. I have no resolve for you. I have no advice for you. I think what you've done in this community is really mess it up. I think who you aligned yourself with is mess it up. I have a little bit of empathy towards you. I do think that you love your son. I think the way you handle this from the beginning has been treacherous and horrible up until, well, your last live. But what do I know? I'm just a hate channel. Until the next one. What's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed the video. Do me a favor, hit that like, subscribe to my clip channel at WhiteBoyRadio Clips, and in the description box is the link to be a member. Become a member if you can. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, stay smart. Peace.